Today I wanted to talk about the idea that information is dangerous. And I am a believer that information is dangerous, and I'm going to share with you why I have that conclusion. And then, of course, you can come to your own conclusion based on that information. So, what I'm going to provide today is a very comprehensive guide through information, knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. Information informs you about what you have no knowledge of. Okay? Then there's knowledge. Knowledge describes information that you have personally experienced, right? So you receive the information, you're now informed about what you have no knowledge of, and then you experience that information, now you have knowledge. Understanding is the spectrum by which you comprehend your knowledge. Wisdom is the degree to which you modify your opinions and your actions based on your knowledge. Okay, so those are the 4 points. So an example of these 4 things and how they work. So mom says that the stove is hot. That's the information. You now have some information, right? The stove's hot. Knowledge is when you see the stove in action for yourself. Information, mom says the stove is hot. Knowledge, you see it red, glowing red. Understanding is saying, I need to use the stove to boil water. Yet it's your understanding of the information that you have knowledge of. Wisdom is saying that I'm going to make sure that I don't touch anything that touches the stove while I'm boiling water. That is a ideological way of these operating together. That's how it's designed, that's how it should go. Information, knowledge, understanding, wisdom. Now, all of that said, this is why information is dangerous. Because you have no idea. You're just receiving this information. You don't have knowledge of it. That's what makes it dangerous. There's 3 types of information. There's true information, there's false information, there's misleading information. If I walk into a building and I say, you're all gonna die, I haven't lied. I haven't given false information. If I walk into a building and say you're all going to die, I'm speaking the truth. Everyone in that building is going to die, right? That's just a fact of life. But the problem is that it's misleading. And if I say that information leaves you with no ability to act or to turn that information into knowledge. You see, it's just misleading. It just causes confusion. Misleading information is dangerous. False information can be dangerous, but with the proper understanding and wisdom, you can usually weed out false information from true information. Misleading information, not so much. The point of all of this is the understanding of what happened in the Garden of Eden. Genesis 2:17, God says, you must not eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So, in Genesis 2:17, let's look at what our information, knowledge, understanding, and wisdom is. Our information is, do not eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Our knowledge is nothing. Our understanding is nothing. And our wisdom is nothing. Then let's get to Genesis 3:4. The serpent says to Eve, no, you will not die. The serpent said to the woman, in fact, God knows that when you eat, your eyes will be open and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. Now from Genesis 3:4, let's look at our information, knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. Our information now is the older information from Genesis 2:7, don't eat, and the new information from Genesis 3:4 that the serpent gave us. You won't die, you'll be like God, and you'll know good and evil. Our knowledge is still none, our understanding is still none, and our wisdom is still none. So then we move to Genesis 3:6. The woman saw that the tree was good for food and delightful to look at, and that it was desirable for obtaining wisdom. So she took some of its fruit and ate it. What are we left with? Our information is the old information, Genesis 2:7, don't eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. The new information from Genesis 3:4, go ahead and eat it, you won't die, you'll be like God, and you'll know good and evil. Our knowledge is now, I'm naked. Our understanding is deceived, and our wisdom is foolishness. That's the danger of false and misleading information. A great way to read this is to switch out knowledge for experience. Genesis 2:17. But you must not eat from the tree of the experience of good and evil. If you switch it out, it starts to make a lot more sense. And it really represents what knowledge truly is. It's that information that you experience. After they acted on the information that they received from the serpent, it wasn't even about the food anymore. It didn't even have it was nothing about did it taste good, was it nutritious, nothing like that. In fact, when they ate from it, after acting on that misleading information, the knowledge that they had was I'm naked. That was their experience. Genesis 3:5. In fact, God knows that when you eat, when you act on it, your eyes will be opened and you will be like God, experiencing good and evil. God saw they were naked, and when they chose to act on the misleading information, their knowledge was that they experienced themselves being naked. Eve did not know that she received true and false information. Now here's what you got to ask yourself. Are you being careful about the information that you're receiving? Are you being wise? And are you acting and changing your opinions based on the things that you have experienced? Or are you foolish and deceived? What we see a lot right now is you're acting on true, false, and misleading information based on no knowledge. And instead of becoming wise, you're becoming foolish. You have all the information in the world. You don't have any knowledge with which to discern the true, false, and misleading information. So what I urge you to do, if you want to say, I believe that the universe is 14.2 billion years old, don't think that you have knowledge of that. That's just information. And what you need to do is find out first, is that true, false, or misleading? What I found is there's only really two sources. There's information that comes from Christ, and there's information that comes from Antichrist. It's supposed to go information, knowledge, understanding, wisdom. But what it's actually doing is going misleading or false information, confusion or deception, misunderstanding, and then foolishness.